How do we create high performance culture? The Weta Way. What makes them tick? How do they work? What creates the epic culture that lets them do things like Lord of the Rings? So join us for this co-creation of our class of what is the Weta Way.
They're artisans, so there is a pride in the craftsmanship of what they do. They make things with their hands. They create unique things for the movies in a way that is special to them, to the skills that they bring to that, and the trade craft that they bring to that. And then underpinning that is trust. They have to deal with very sensitive information all the time. They're working on movies that no one else knows about, other than the studios that are making the movies. And they talk about that with a sense of pride, that they can control that information, they can keep it in-house, they create this little culture and community of people that they trust each other, and they can keep those secrets safe, so they can keep doing the craft work and working in the movies and making cool stuff.
So we were kind of kids playing, and we had this dream, and we loved the dream, and then magically we get to do that as adults, do the thing that we really dreamed about being as kids. So we're still big kids ourselves there, but we're a family of big kids that we also kind of behave and act like adults. So we've got a family of craftspeople built on passion, and a passion from an early age. The passion's about a fandom, so there's that kind of self-serving virtuous cycle of creating things for the fandom that we're also members of. And there's a DIY spirit. We kind of talked about having a mana for DIY. So people that come along with a degree saying that you know how to do a thing has cred, but also coming along and saying, I taught myself this stuff, has a little bit of mana around it. Was a bit of pride around that.
And the organisation supporting them to be able to do that, so be able to teach themselves different things at work and learn different courses on their day off, that sort of thing. So it's kind of DIY, you can do anything type of spirit.
So the second part that we talked about was the fact that you can see that the people really care about their own growth, but also the evolution of the craft that they're doing. So they take real self-responsibility for growing. They come in on the weekends and work on their passion projects, and they talked a lot about research and development and experimenting, and if I make a mistake, well, that's cool because I'm going to find something out and the company's okay with it. So they cared about growing their craft and their passion and developing themselves and each other.
And our last one was about bring your geeky, authentic self to everything we do. Bring your true self and just be who you are in your social life and your work life. You're just one person.
So all this was possible by the wholeness they bring to the work. So how the complete self, and there are many attributes that goes behind this. Some of this were also covered in the earlier teams. I think there is this whole hand, body, mind coordination which comes together to bring this to life, and also the passion which they bring along to make things happen. The last one we found out was that it's a team of people who are empowered to do things, to experiment, to create, and showcase innovation.
Cool. So based on our analysis, the Weta Way is based on a very clear purpose, where people actually they have their own language. They are really grounded with their purpose of being part of New Zealand and actually design and being creative. Then they consider people as they are, so they can bring their own self, their dogs. They can actually do what they really love in the organization, and they are full of experimentation and passion. So they go with the flow, adapting, and they are fully independent in really creating new things. So you can see them doing research on multiple things.
And we're looking at the journey of organizations from red and orange, from traditional business as usual being low performance, creating Theory X, unmotivated, unambitious people, to a very different way of working. We've talked about moving to green organizations, very about the people, purpose, values, teal, about decentralized people showing up and acting like adults. Here. So what we're seeing is that the Weta Way, what they've created here for this workshop, this industry, this actually is not just one company. What we heard is it's actually a whole bunch of little independent companies, and it's actually 90% contractors. It's people who are even the best in their industry choosing to work together, learn together, grow together, and create awesome products together, this fabric binding. We heard a lot about craftsmanship, tying things in, and so on.
I saw a lot of letting go of the ego, because it was like they specifically said the directors, it's the director's movie, and whatever they are deciding and whatever version, it's up to them.
Yeah.
Right? And to let go, because you're the one that's building it and creating the thing. You drew it out. You drew out the character, you created the whole entire process, and then the director can come and say, no, I want it like this. And to be able to have that.
And then change their mind. And now that I've seen it, I want it like this. And they showed us iteration after iteration, how they're evolving or running experiments to figure out what works. But you know what's even more interesting? Not the director has total final authority. It is fully their show. You'd say, well, it's red. It's all about command and control and power. Right? You could say that, but that's not the truth of what's happening. The truth of what's happening is you have directors who understand they're working with creative people, and they listen. They're open to other people's ideas, and that's the secret. It's not about getting rid of the hierarchy, right? It's not about not having authority. It's not about having people in charge. It's not about any of that. It's about people who have positions of power and responsibility, being willing to listen and co-create with others to create greatness. And to do that, what does that mean? We have to let go of our agenda. We have to work through our ego. We have to show up as leaders that inspire people and model this kind of behavior. A lot of what we see here in high-performance organizations worldwide, that to create energized, motivated, theory-wide workers, there's actually very different ways of functioning, where people are sharing power, working together. And one thing that we heard that was so clear is that this is the journey of shifting consciousness, of having a different way of working. And we thank you so much, everyone. This is amazing co-creation by the Wellington CAL2, first class time in the world. What an amazing morning. All right, great. Let's go get lunch.